We're good on my end. How about on actual Facebook? Let's see what we got going
That clear? This is a total.
You see it on your end?
Or did you go through the event itself, or it says that you are live on my phone?
Okay, sweet. Welcome everybody to Scaling Lean's Weekly Live. You have Jonathan Polanski and Nina Brendan here, co-founders of Scaling Lean, coming at you live from the East Coast for the first time, both of us, since basically Christmas. With that being said, I know we're a little bit off schedule today. We are an hour and a half early. So if you aren't watching this and you're watching the replay, thanks for still tuning in. We have a lot of value to drop today. So what we're going to be talking about today is thanks for still tuning in. I heard that.
I'm just verifying, so I didn't see it in the group, so.
You're good. But what we're going to be talking about today is shocker, shocker, more AI and content creation of how we create content on social media. And I was laughing the other day when I was looking at my post because 2023, Jonathan and Nina, I feel like are kind of eating our words in terms of how we marketed, where it's we were right, but now we're wrong because of the technology and the innovation that has come out. So we're going to talk a little bit about the content strategy, the content plan, and how we still are able to escape the content hamster wheel while producing massive amount of content, amplifying our brand and helping others do the same. So that being said, JP, I know you've been on the forefront of a lot of the content on the Scaling Lean page. Well, let's dive into a little bit of what we're doing, how we're going about the strategy, and how it's changed over the last 2 to 5 years of being in the online business space.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great topic. And before we hop into the current space, I think it would be cool to like reflect a little bit on where we were, right? Because the story of scaling lean basically is leveraged assets and putting those into a automated process. We call it our conversion engine, right? And then having that conversion engine pre-filter our leads to book calls or direct offers, low ticket offers, lead magnets, stuff like that, and to indoctrinate our leads and learn more, right? So initially, when we did come online, we were doing a lot of TikTok videos that really weren't leveraged at all, right? We were just doing a lot of content. We were pushing it out 5 to 7 videos a day. At some points, like it was a wild time. TikTok was the Wild West. We got a lot of followers, a lot of, inbound leads and stuff like that. So we were able to kind of like grow our business rather quickly. And like we kind of got spoiled. But then as TikTok, the reach kind of went down, we got burned out, right? Because we weren't seeing that inbound flow and like the people weren't coming in as easy as it was. And then that's when we essentially put more weight on building leveraged assets that will attract, inform, and convert people that are coming in into paying clients, right? So now we're kind of, as Nina mentioned there, we're on the journey now of stepping back into more of the content creation because we've built the leveraged ecosystem. So now ultimately we create more top of funnel awareness and that'll bring the people in and it will just create this everlasting machine. And that's what we've helped at this point over 250 business owners do over the years is really help them build that conversion engine that really builds that predictable revenue over time, right? So yeah, the purpose of this live, Nina, is really to dive a little bit deeper into what we're learning on the AI side with the content multiplication factor inside the content matrix that we're developing, right?
Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit about why we're bringing content to the forefront of what we're talking about. Because I know we talk a lot about paid advertising. We talk about automated systems of converting paid advertising, converting content, etc. But I actually calculated between scaling lean and Nina Brennan personal brand, etc., of how many lead or how many followers I had over the years. And it was just shy of 70,000. And that 70,000 across the multiple platforms being YouTube and Instagram, and we didn't even use Instagram that high, like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, even now Threads. I went on my Threads account and I had like, I don't ever post except like what is repurposed automatically from Instagram. And there are 400 people following me there. So just like finding pockets of like people that are engaging in content, that know my name, that see who I am online. Our email list has grown tremendously. Our Facebook group has grown pretty steadily over the years. There's validation inside of a brand like that. of even if you don't see it, when you look at the views and you have over 1 million views on a platform that you're not even touching, that's pretty solid. So that's what the importance is of like why we're bringing this up is yeah, we run ads and we are strong suited that ads is going to help expedite the process of bringing leads into the ecosystem, but you still have to put in the work of getting your brand out there. And I don't want people thinking that, just because you're posting on one platform, like you have to post. You have to post on one platform at least. And if you're able to take that content and use that kind of content in your email or use that kind of content in your value videos and kind of validate it with paid advertising plus the organic side, it's going to save you a lot of heartache. Can you hear the background noise that we got going on here? Okay, I'll mute myself as I'm not talking. All right, so let's talk a little bit about now the processes that we've used AI for. So JP, I know that with long form, we've been doing at least one long form piece of content a day for the last couple of years, both on your account and my account. So what have we done with the AI processes to take those pieces of content, put it into the database, and repurpose on other platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. So ultimately, what we've really built here at Scaling Lean, and we're leveraging Claude AI very heavily, right? So we're building a resource center of all of our top performing assets, and we're doing this with our clients as well, right? And then we're taking proven sales calls from clients that closed and other assets and compiling that into our product knowledge center, and then giving it some ideas based on what's trending right now, right? So whether that's trending hooks, entire videos, and we're importing that into Claude as ideas, and then it's taking our micro stories, our offer frameworks based on the Golden Polaris method we went over last week during last week's live, our exact buyer beliefs that they're stumbling with in order to buy. It's taking all of that data and then it's creating an entire month's worth of content in literally like a couple hours, right? This used to take us we used to have like really strategic times to sit down and really plan out our content. And then we've went through different seasons, right? Sometimes Nina and I post every day and kind of flows free flowing. And then other times we've went through seasons of like, we'll batch out an entire month and or week and then pre-schedule that and then go in. And then kind of right now, Nina, for me personally, I'm kind of like in between, right? So it's some is pre-scheduled, some is written like in the moment based on to building the personal brand and stuff like that because I think that is important. Um, but whatever is flowing freely, right? So that's pretty much the overview that we've been working on and refining over the past 6 to 12 months to really help us multiply the top performers and really attract those ideal prospects into our ecosystem and then build on all the middle of and bottom of funnel content, the nurture style content to inform them more of like what we do and how we can potentially help them if we even can, right?
Yeah, and something I do absolutely love about the social media kind of marketing strategy that we put together over the last 6 to 12 months is no platform is the same, right? And each platform we have to talk to the audience in just a little bit different of a way. So I know that you're heavy on Instagram. I've been heavy on LinkedIn recently. I've also been heavy on Facebook and communicating on Facebook the way that we have always had. And I feel like there was a resistance for a while in order to start posting like short form because I feel like LinkedIn, it's like very business. Like you connect with people in the DM. So you post, you build your personal brand, they view your profile, you have your messages going out every single day. And it's really just like a business connection. And every client that we've landed from LinkedIn has been like, let's get to business. Boom, that's it. Whereas I feel like on Facebook, there's a little bit more of that personal flair twang where people really do follow us in terms of who we are, what we do. They get to know us before they buy. And then when we were on TikTok a couple of years ago, it was very similar. Like people were more bought into the person than the actual strategy. Like people would buy from us just because of who we are as people or who we were as people at the time. And I thought that was very interesting because Instagram is kind of like a mixture of all three. So the content itself, it's like people are looking for value, and that's what sorry, I heard. Yeah, people are looking for content that's valuable, but they're also looking for that like, who is this person? And I think the platform's really cool because like you can pre-schedule your content and really get it out there via reels and posts and all this fun stuff that people do on Instagram. But stories is like where people are going to really get to know you. And that's like where you could do like your daily posting of like, this is who you are, this is how your lifestyle is, etc., to really get people to not only just buy into what you're saying via your content, but also buy into that human element of like, what is it that you do on a daily basis and why should they follow you?
Yeah, absolutely, Nina. I love that part there. And I feel
My aunt's a, she.
one of the things that we went super deep on in the past like year or two, right, is just more written style content, which is absolute fire. We've had great results with it. But I really do believe right now with the trust recession that we're in, it's really about that video content that builds that trust at a deeper level, right? So now that's really what we've been leaning into more lately because, when someone hears your voice, sees you, and it really just builds that connection more effectively, right? And we're leveraging different strategies with trial reels and also paid advertising to just expand our awareness for really cheap, actually. It's like $3 to $5 a day for a campaign, right? So again, it's really important in today's world, I feel, with this AI revolution that's happening, that we do focus more on short form video because it's always been important and it's always been like we've always known this. It's not like we haven't, but we've always been more of like a written style, and that's really the folks that we've attracted. So it's really cool to like go into that new medium now and really start to experiment again, and really keep it simple. Like the scaling lean is method is all about is just simplifying the entire scaling process, right? And it doesn't have to be overwhelming to create a lot of content. We can sit down in a 2 to 4 hour targeted strategy session based on some AI prompts and some top converting content and emails and assets that we've had in the past and really plug that in and have it really accelerate um, our entire creation state, right? So we're not like getting bogged down by it. We're now like enhancing and like it's empowering us to be the best creator that we can.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about repurposing the long form content. And I know there's a couple of ways to go about it. So I'm talking to people that are brand new to content creation in the online space, whether you have a business that's pre-existing or you're looking to launch, or like us who have been in the game for 4.5 years now, and we have a database of just like our own content that we can leverage as like quote unquote research. So there's a way that you can go onto Claude, and I'm just going to use Claude as an example to research your competitors if you're newer and you're having trouble to find ideas for your content, right? But this weekend, I sat down and I created 60 days worth of content for the quote unquote Nina Brennan personal brand. And how I did that was I found my best performing post from the last 12 months. So I went into my own content. I looked at what people were looking for. I looked at the polls. I pulled my stories, etc., that have quote unquote hit online, and I put that into a database. And then I had just a simple conversation with my buddy Claude, and I was like, hey, I'm looking to create a content calendar for 60 days out. These are the platforms I'm looking to build on. And then I broke it down of like Instagram, I'm reintroducing my personal brand. So I need a 12 to 30 day warm up series for both reels and posts. And what did it do? It created exactly what I should be saying. It did carousels. It did um, just long form posts, like our style of copy, and it did how I can turn those into reels. And then I said, this is amazing. I've been on Facebook for 4+ years and I have a following of XYZ. Please create me 30 days worth of content for this. Uh, I forget the exact prompt, but that's what I did. I had that conversation and I told them exactly where I was, the people that are watching my content, kind of the likes and stuff that we're getting. And I did the same thing for LinkedIn and I asked for it to be more professional. So after the hour and 15 minutes of talking back and forth with Claude, I took about 40 to 45 minutes to go through everything and edit it. And I had 60 days worth of content. And then what I did, I took a couple of the posts and I put it back in and I said, this post worked very well on my Facebook. Please create me 2 to 3 variants that I can repurpose it with. And then it created posts, and then I just did the whole process again. I went back, I edited it, made sure it was in my voice, didn't have any of those AI words like transformation or revelation or revolutionize, and I put it into my voice. And then now the content strategy is done. And like I don't have to think about it. The only thing I have to go do is now film my reels, and I'm going to be doing it in a storytelling style. And they even broke it down for me into like instead of just a talking head, I asked them to do it in storytelling and it broke it down beautifully for me. So that's what we've done. That's what you've been doing with our Scaling Lean account as well. So let's talk a little bit about that of your process because I know it's a little bit different than mine, but it still works at the end of the day really greatly.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say it's overall about the same. I've kind of segmented the idea stage and then the creation stage. And then, well, ideas, scripting, and then creation is pretty much like the three-step process that I've kind of deployed. I like doing it all in one day, where I think some folks might identify better with like maybe doing ideas and scripting in one day, or maybe even breaking up in three, like 1 to 2 hour windows. But either way, it's still going to be probably a total of about 2 to 4 hours, depending on what you're trying to create. If you're doing an entire month, might be on the higher end of like 4 hours from start to finish. Where if you're doing just like 10 or a 15-day window, you could probably knock it out in 2.5 once you start to get through a couple cycles of the process, right? It's all important to keep everything systematized, but I find it very good. And shout out to Professor Danny on Instagram because he really connected me with this, like really sitting down and having a targeted idea phase of like what you're trying to achieve. Is it top of funnel to get followers? Is it middle of funnel to build awareness around more of like the process and who you are and your story and drive people into your email list and group and um, like things like this? Or is it bottom of funnel where like this week or in the next 14 days, we're going to push towards a promo cycle, we're going to do a webinar, a master class, or even just get 6 new clients in, just a direct call to action, right? So really focusing in on what that's going to look like, getting the ideas behind it based on top performing content, keyword searching and stuff like that on Instagram in my case, or Facebook or whatever platform, right? And then going into your creation phase, which is now you're actually like in scripting mode, which is more like the strategy side of your brain. These are like two separate sides of your brain, right? So then you can have all your scripts laid out, like Nina mentioned there. Like today, I just did it this morning. I'm about to film after this. And then taking another, like come to going away and then going into your actual creation mode, whether that's video or written or carousels or whatever that is. Just do that one thing. And I loved what you said there, Nina, about like identifying the top performing content because that was a huge lesson that I personally learned. Is like, why are we constantly producing new content when we could just be leveraging the content that we've already created once that is working amazing, right? So take that viral or highly engaging video post and turn it into a written style, or turn that written style into a video post, or turn that video into a carousel post, right? Like there's so many different ways that we can restructure that content to multiply it. And it's really just off of that one idea, right? So it really starts to really gain momentum and the process really starts to kind of start filling itself up. And then we're just collecting content on the personal brand side and just kind of reporting on like what's going on in some cases as well, right? So yeah, that's the overarching process, and we're definitely be coming forward with some workshops in the near future here on like exactly how we're doing this. So, um, yeah,
Yeah. So I will be releasing something Monday just as a teaser. It's going to be an overarching strategy of our AI content matrix of how we go about just talking to Claude and getting exactly what we want out of it. But you brought up something crucial here that I want to mention before we wrap this up is in terms of platform specific content creation, you have to understand your audience on each of the platforms. And we've been heavily on Facebook, building our quote unquote personal brands on our personal pages. And if anyone has been on the Facebook platform for marketing, you probably understand the process of you have to go into Facebook groups, you have to add them as friends. They're kind of on your friend list for a while. People are going to engage. Maybe they'll check out your Facebook group. So it's more of like a warmer audience because they're people that have accepted, they've had conversations in the DMs, and now they're just following the journey, right? And your personal Facebook, well, there's two kinds. There's personal Facebook that can be professional like yours, JP, or there's personal Facebook like mine that I've had it since I think 2010. And it doesn't allow me to be in quote unquote professional mode. So I cannot run ads on my account. So everybody that's on my friends list has been like vetted by our virtual assistants when they were doing the adding process. And then now they're just following me. And there's not a lot of new juice coming into the ecosystem. So that's like a warmer audience that you're talking to. So they require a kind of like top of funnel, middle of funnel awareness style. Whereas when you're on Instagram posting reels, if you look at your analytics, you have to look at how much is going to be new eyes on your content versus people that are already followers and kind of understand who you are and what you do. And there's a very specific pattern for each of the platforms. And that's why I do believe that you can fully over automate your system. And we're all about automation here at Scaling Lean, how to streamline processes, how to buy back your time, etc. But testing repurpose.io starting in January, it was great, but my content that I was posting on Instagram was not great for content that was supposed to be for LinkedIn. And I was looking at, okay, it's like this was getting views, this was getting likes, people were engaging, people were starting conversations. Whereas LinkedIn, it was just cluttering my feed with things that people really weren't watching, engaging, and it actually dropped my engagement on LinkedIn. So these are the kind of mindful tactics that we look at here at Scaling Lean when we are doing this automated process is just because you can doesn't mean you should. And where should you find the balance in that content creation or even just your system in general for conversion to make sure that it's optimal rather than just getting it done? Do you want anything on top of that, JP?
No, you pretty much nailed it there, Nina. And I know this one's real heavy with the actual multiplication of the content. I feel like we covered that really well based on some of the experiences, kind of where we were, where we're headed. Definitely more things will be trickling down with the content matrix and workshops like that that are coming out. So I really just feel the biggest overarching thing here is content's important, but it's always really important as well to have leveraged assets. We kind of kicked that off a little bit in the beginning. So let us know if you have good content and maybe you need a little bit more of the conversion side. Drop us a scaling playbook below and we can send over our guide of like the exact process that we went through over our time and what we learned with the content creation of like doing 5 a day and really not having a conversion system on the back. And then like now what we have is an entire ecosystem, right? Where it's middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, client awareness style, and it really helps us gain leverage and time and revenue in our entire processes, right? So I figured I'd bring that up here at the end, because this one is really important with like top of funnel is more of like the vibe on this one, but it's also super important to have that conversion engine dialed in as well.
Yeah, maybe next week we'll talk about the mirroring effect of outward content versus inward content. Let us know if that's something that you guys are interested in who is already tuning in live or watching the replay. We do have a quick question about Claude. If either of you have a suggestion on it, get the paid version. It's only $20 a month, but you could build your database and your knowledge base of you, your business, and it will just help write content so much better. It'll also just like hold all of your past. I'm pretty sure the free version does this as well, but you can create projects inside of paid Claude. So like if you do want to create like a content ecosystem, like what we're developing here at Scaling Lean, that's where you're going to want. It's $20 a month. Just get it. I do have to wrap up here because I got to get going for a 12 o'clock meetup. But with that being said, we are live every single week at typically 1 o'clock EST. This week was the first time that we threw it off in I think like 20 weeks, JP. So tune in if you guys want the scaling playbook. Drop hashtag scaling playbook below and we'll send it over. We already see you, Ron. We'll send it over in the DM shortly. With that being said, we'll see you guys next week at 1 o'clock EST. I think we're good.
Looks like it's still on.
1 o'clock EST. 1 o'clock EST. 1 o'clock EST. 1 o'clock EST.
It is still
Why
on.
is that on loop?
It's on. It is still
Why
on.
is that on loop?
It's on. It is still
Why
on.
is that on loop?
Because I'm watching it and you're watching it.
I might have to just close my laptop.
Because I'm watching it and you're watching it.
I might have to just close my laptop.
Because I'm watching. You are a freaking mess.